So this is a series I'm doing. I actually did the 2060 yesterday, where I take graphics cards and put them in the most demanding AAA titles that are kind of out now or maybe have come out in the last few years, just to get an idea of how well they perform if you're either on that graphics card or if you're looking to purchase it, because I think it's important to know, like, when you're going to buy something, or even if you have it already, like, do you really want to spend $70 on a game if it's not going to run? So I thought maybe I would just have some information out there, hopefully, that could be helpful for that. And in today's video, I actually have a 3060 Ti. This is an Eagle Gigabyte version. It has 8 gigs of VRAM. This little section here lights up whenever it's on. I think it looks cool. It's a blue light, but whatever. And in the video that we're going to be doing today, we're going to be playing Black Myth Wukong, Borderlands 4, Cyberpunk, Crimson Desert, Spider-Man 2, and Space Marine 2. So just like we did with the 2060. And the plan is I'm actually going to be using 2 different processors for this, because on this channel I never make anything easy on myself. So what I've heard is the sweet pairing and the perfect pairing is a Ryzen 5 5500 and a 3060 Ti. So we'll see how that kind of looks. And then also I'm going to put the 3060 Ti with a Ryzen 5 9600X. We're going to test out all the games on both of those, and it's important for you guys to understand that on my channel, I'm going to be honest, I'm really grateful that I have the support and that I've grown as quickly as I am. I'm still pretty new to this space, so I'm learning a lot of this as I grow, and I want you guys to understand that when I'm making these types of videos, I am giving you my anecdotal experience, which I think is the most valuable part of what I have. There is an FPS counter. I am doing my best to pay attention to that, how much the CPU is used, the GPU is used, but I'm really testing it to see if you're playing the game, are you gonna get lag? Is it a smooth experience? Is there any kind of motion blur? Like, those are the things that I find important personally. And sometimes there's just this misleading concept in my experience that if you're getting 40 or 50 FPS in a game, you can't play it. But I've played plenty of games where 40 or 50 FPS felt really good, and I've played other games where 40 or 50 FPS was really poor. So today, we're gonna run through all those games. I will give you my experience as we go. I'll try to keep it short so that we're not spending an hour in the gameplay total. And then I'll break down for you guys my thoughts, how well this 3060 Ti handled it. And I am gonna be doing it on a 1440p monitor. I think the 3060 Ti is a 1440p card. I guess I'll find out as the video goes on if it's not. Otherwise, let's go ahead and jump into some of the tests. All right, guys, so we've got Black Myth Wukong loaded up on the 3060 Ti and the Ryzen 5 5500. First impressions before we get into any of the settings or anything is this looks really solid. Very, very impressive. Let's go ahead and jump into what it's got us set at. This is just the default. So it has us set on Super Resolution 50. I put this on DLSS. I don't think you can do native on this. So we'll do DLSS, no ray tracing. Wow, it defaulted to high. I think we can probably just stick with the defaults on this 3060 Ti because it's a relatively strong card. So first, moving around, not getting any of the motion blur or worries that sometimes you get with Wukong, where like if you try to max things, it'll go really high, or not really high, but it'll go really slow. Let me show you really quickly, that way you guys can kind of see. So I'm gonna up this. I know it's gonna tell us don't do that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, there's just this massive delay between what you do and how, yeah. So if you can watch the mouse here, like I'm moving and it is going with it. Well, maybe it's not so bad. I am moving and I'm going with it, but it is going, but it's not like as responsive, and you can see a lot of blurriness around the character. So I'll drop that back down really quickly. But as far as being on a 3060 Ti, I think this is pretty solid here. So I'm leaning towards this is definitely, oh yeah, that's a really good feeling. We'll fight this guy real quick. Oh yeah, this is very, very playable. I mean, we are, oh, I didn't kill him. We are pretty much maxing out the GPU. Oh, it's running at good temperatures. I literally just bought this, so I haven't tried it out until today. The CPU would probably get more utilized if we drop down to 1080p, but that's not really what we care about. We care about the 3060 Ti, sorry guys. Yeah, this is pretty solid for me. I feel like this is a good experience. 100% you can run this game. Let's go ahead and jump over to Crimson Desert. Or no, wait, no. Let's go ahead and jump over to Borderlands 4. That's what we're doing. All right, you guys, so now we have Borderlands 4 loaded up. I am going to show you the settings that we're running really quickly. So I actually put it on high myself, DLSS. I don't think you can run native on this game, on really a lot, but I could be wrong. Quality upscaling, so everything here is going to be set to, you know, high or the medium setting. Let's figure out where I'm going. I'll run that way and give you guys kind of a quick breakdown. So on high, we're getting 35 to 40 FPS. Doesn't feel slow. Yeah, so I mean, this is down at 30 FPS, but it does feel pretty playable. I will say I could probably lower this some. In fact, here, let me do that really quick. I will say I could probably lower this down to medium. Hopefully it doesn't make me compile shaders again. It does. I started out the video and I was on low and went to high and it took like 3 minutes. Okay, so a 10 FPS increase, 13. Not bad. This is a lot smoother. This is way more responsive than it was. For me, so I've played Borderlands on, I did not mean to do that. I've played Borderlands on several different kinds of things here. I've played it on a 9070 XT, I played it on a 2080 Ti, really like tons of different systems, and at about the 45 to 60 FPS rate is when it starts feeling like it's pretty playable. Yeah, this felt very nice. I think this is a good depiction. So this is again on 1440p of what this is capable of. And I mean, we're getting, this game is relatively CPU intensive, especially, well, I take that back. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but we are getting a lot out of the GPU. So cool, that feels like a good spot. Let's go ahead and swap over to Cyberpunk and see how that runs. Okay, I finally caught it on video. I always forget to load it, but when you're on those slower CPUs sometimes, so you guys probably just caught that, the cars and things sometimes will load in a little slower. I'm glad I hit record in time. What is my settings on? Let me show you guys the settings here really quick. What kind of video is this on? VSync is off. Oh, it thinks we're on 1920. That's why it looks so awkward. There we go. I don't think that had anything to do with it. So I did this yesterday with, actually, let me make sure I don't have any frame gen on. Quality, frame gen, okay, frame gen's off, cool. So I did this same video yesterday. Man, this looks so good for being on a 3060 Ti. Maybe it's just this game. I was in a bit of a different spot, but we were getting like about the same FPS actually on high, but we weren't on 1440p. Wow, this looks so clean. Dang. So as I do these videos, there's a lot of times where like I'm trying new things or I haven't done something before. I've never used, well, I take that back. I have had a 3060 Ti. I had a 3060 Ti Founders Edition that I benchmarked with, I think it was a 5500 then too, but I didn't try Cyberpunk at that time. But this looks really, really good, above 100 FPS. I would think we could probably even get away with like bumping this up even higher if we really, really wanted to. What if we turn on some ray tracing? What if we just got wild here and turn on some ray tracing? Still 80 FPS. Wow. That's crazy. Looks really good. I'm not having like any kind of delay or lack of responsiveness. I mean, look at the smoke billowing out of there. That's really cool. And you can see like the lighting changes in the display in that video up there, or the billboard, whatever you want to call it. I want to drive around a little more. I don't want to go over there because I know what you end up doing there. Oh, those are police. Oh, they're guards. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I think we could even up this further. I'm gonna regret this, but I'm gonna try Ray Tracing Ultra. On a 1440p monitor, this is a 3060 Ti, which I'm sure many of you are going to be arguing with me in the comments that it's not a 1440p card, but who knows? I'm just some guy on the internet. 60 FPS. Wow, look at the texture in these things, you guys. Is that a cop following me? Jeez, look at how good that looks. I want to drop this to low really quickly. because I just want to see the visual quality in difference. So all the way down to low here. So look at, it's just kind of like a black shape. And then we're going all the way back up to ultra. Yeah, you guys might not be able to see it because it's hard to see it. YouTube compresses it, and then I am recording this through a phone, and I'm not screen capturing it, which I know I get yelled at for that too. Anyway, but like, it just has so much more detail. And we're still getting 60 to 70 FPS. And like, look at this fire. That fire looks so good. Yep, cool. I'm impressed. The 3060 Ti is definitely getting a thumbs up for me so far on the 1440p on these modern games. Let's go ahead and swap over to Crimson Desert. I imagine we're going to see a pretty good performance there. So now we have Crimson Desert on the 5500 and the 3060 Ti. So I did this video yesterday, the same thing with the 2060. So I'm really curious to see the visual quality difference and then like the performance, because the 2060 is like maybe $125, $150. And the 3060 Ti I think is like maybe $225 to $250. I got mine on a really good deal. I actually paid $225 for this and a Ryzen 5 3600. The guy had something up for a long time. I've actually never seen this green stuff around him before, so that looks really cool. But yeah, so let's go ahead and check out the settings really quick. Ooh, that is really, 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 really slow. So what is it defaulted me on? We're on high. Yeah, so we have everything on high. I'm just gonna let it run with that for a little while. Wow, this looks really good. I don't know if I played it on 1440p before. I am impressed with this though. I keep saying this and I'll reiterate it. In daylight, this game looks amazing. So we're in the city, and I believe on the 2060 on low, we were getting like 100 FPS or so. I never really tried to go up. I think I did go up to high maybe, and it was like 30 or 40 FPS. Oh, that looks so clean. And they look pretty good too. I wish you could zoom in not on just your face. So I am down to 40 FPS, 45 FPS. So it seems like there is a slight jump from that 2060 to this 3060 Ti. I definitely think that there is improvement in the quality. Oh, there's a kitty cat. Let me carry you. Oh, that's adorable. Hi, kitty, kitty, kitty. I am curious. I want to throw it down to low. I know you guys say it's the CPU. Yeah, I'm aware, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to look at it. Huh. So maybe it went up by like 15 FPS, and it really didn't lose much visual quality. I don't think it lost much, did it? Let's go back up to the high here. Okay, yeah, it definitely lost some visual quality. There's a lot more like clarity and structure and lines is how I kind of describe it whenever I'm looking at this. But man, this 3060 Ti is performing well. I think it's just, I still just think that this game is probably poorly optimized for something that had such a huge, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Huge anticipation behind it. I mean, even Newegg was like giving it away as like part of bundle deals before it even came out. So yeah, I feel like this is a good spot for the 3060 Ti. Let's go ahead and swap over to, what game are we on now? Are we on Spider-Man 2? I think that's where we're at. Let's go to Spider-Man 2. All right, guys, Spider-Man 2 loaded up. Let's go ahead and make sure I've got all the right settings on here really quick. That way we're not goofing around on stuff that doesn't make any sense. I don't know why I'm saying it that way. So it's trying to default us to, I thought it looked a little weird there. Frame gen is off, upscale is off, VSync is off. Let's go ahead and look at the graphics. Wow, it's on very high. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this down to medium, I think. Yep, okay. I'm gonna drop it down to medium. So everything's set on medium, we're on 1080p. First impression, dang, this looks clean. 5500 and a 3060 Ti on 1440p. Now the other thing I haven't mentioned is, you know, it only has 8 gigs of VRAM, and that is where a potential concern could come in, you know, when you're playing at 1440p. But I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. So I did a video where I tested my 9070 XT on a 75-inch 4K 120 hertz frame TV, and I played Cyberpunk, Space Marine 2, and maybe Black Myth Wukong, I don't remember. But I don't even remember if I ever went over maybe even 9 or 10 at the most. I'd have to go back and look. But like VRAM almost never, to me, in my experiences, it seems to be that big of an issue. So yeah, it seems like, so we did this video on the 2060 yesterday, but I was in a different spot. And we were getting like 60 to 70-ish FPS, but that was on low. Like I really couldn't crank it beyond that. So the fact that we're on medium on 1440p, and this is like very smooth. I'm not having any like delay. There's no motion blur. As I move the mouse moves, whoops. Very good quality. So I feel excited about this. This is nice. I would like to see maybe if we boosted the settings just a little higher. I think we could potentially handle it. Let's go up to very high, because we were on very high before. I want to see what we're getting here. If this is still playable. I can't tell if it looks worse here or not. It's hard to tell because we're not in the city anymore. And like everything is kind of moving fast here. I mean, okay. So, yep, we just hit like a 1% low of like 17 there. I need to do more like, I know you guys tell me in the comments, like do the graphs, do all that kind of stuff. At some point, as this becomes like more like opportunity of full time, and this is what I'm doing majority of my time, I will do that. So that feels like a good spot for me to finish up Spider-Man 2. I think medium is a good setting, very high, especially like once you get into the city and have all these details, it will cause you to potentially stutter. So let's go ahead and swap over to Space Marine 2. Space Marine 2 loaded up on the 5500. This will be the last game we do, then we're swapping over to the 9600X. Actually, I do want to go ahead and take a look really quickly at the settings that we're on. So full screen native, DLSS, no frame gen. I don't even think you can do. Yeah, most of these you can't do any kind of no upscaling. And it has us on medium. Okay, so medium. I think there is some fighting in here towards the end. So I forget what we were getting. I think I stayed on low and then I went up to high to try it out on the 2060. But first of all, this is much higher quality visually, and it's like seamlessly smooth. Like there's absolutely no delay or anything, which, you know, I believe that's how it was on the 2060 as well. But this looks incredible, actually. It looks really, really, really good. And we're still getting, you know, a solid 60, 70 FPS. Neither the GPU or the CPU seem to be going all the way up. The GPU is getting pretty close, but we're utilizing both pretty heavily. So this probably feels like it's a natural limit to this, but I am curious. I do want to go up a little higher because we have 8 gigs. I don't think it's going to let me go to ultra. Yeah, it said the same thing when I tried to do a 3080. I imagine that it requires maybe 12 or, you know, more. So, oh wait, high. All right, so we're high. We're about to get into, you know, more fighting. This does feel a little slower. It does look really good though. Oh, you know what? It's not that bad. It's pretty responsive. Okay, there was a minor stutter there. I guess this would be a case where there was another one. At some point, I promise, guys, I will have more of those things that you keep asking for, like the frame time graphs and, you know, the 1% lows and things, because those do matter, and I feel them in the game, and that's why I describe them, because I just don't have the time, to be honest, to add those right now. But I feel like on medium, that was about where we sat, and it felt pretty good, and I didn't notice any of those. So I want to run out here really quickly. Okay, here we go. Now we're actually in some fighting. So we're back in hot or medium again. I should probably check to see if there's more ammo, because this gun is not going to cut it. Oh, this gun is not going to cut it at all. Yeah, so 55 FPS. It's feeling smooth. I'm not getting like any of those like really bad dips. So it seems like it's a playable 55 FPS, and this is a pretty intense like area with a lot happening. Yeah, I mean this feels like a good natural spot to stop. You know, we're seeing all of these things happening around us, and I am not getting any stuttering, no motion blur, no like delays or anything like that. So let's go and swap over to the 9600X and, you know, see how that handles these games, and if there's really any improvement or any noticeable difference at all. I imagine there will be some, because obviously, you know, better CPU to CPU, but I don't think it's going to be a massive jump. But who knows? I've been wrong several times. All right, now we have the 9600X paired with the 3060 Ti. We are in Black Myth Wukong. What is going on with my Afterburner settings? I assume that it's correct, so ignore that it says GPU 1, Mem 1. And we also have the wattage on there. When I switch from PC to PC, sometimes... Anyway, let me get going on the settings that we're on here. I'll stop rambling, guys. We can... Dang, 50 is the max it'll let me go up to on 3060 Ti. I looked that up and I still couldn't quite understand. I think that's just the scaling of your screen. I don't know. Someone explain it to me in the comments. It has us on high. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on high, and we have no frame gen on, right? Yeah, no frame gen on. Cool. So first of all, very responsive. What were we getting in FPS on the other one? Like 60 or 70? Maybe it was 80. I forget. But the GPU is at full load here. CPU is not seeming like it's used, but that's also because we're on 1440p. Feels really good. Yeah, I don't know how much there is to comment on this other than, you know, the 9600X does feel a little better. I'm not sure that it's significantly better. Let's see when we get into this fight here. Ow! Ow, dude. This is probably the end for me. Yeah, I mean, it seems smooth. It didn't seem like there's any, like, drops. We're not worrying about the VRAM at all. We didn't go above 8, I don't think. That wasn't a very good assessment by me, was it? I could have done better, but I was focused on the fighting. I feel like this is really, really solid. At 1440p, this would be a good pairing. In fact, I've probably seen a lot of like 7600Xs and things like that paired with the 3060 and 3060 Ti. So that's probably kind of like, I think 3060 is like the most commonly used card, if I'm not mistaken, on Steam, but I'll stop rambling. Let's go to Borderlands 4. All right, guys, now we are on the 9600X with Borderlands 4 and a 3060 Ti. Try saying all these things quite quickly. It will definitely make... Whoa, that was bad. That was real bad. What settings does it have us on here? Because that was really bad. So we're still on 1440p. No VSync on. It's on medium? It's on medium and we had that bad of a stutter? Whoa, weren't we getting like 50 to 60 FPS before? I think it's gonna make us fight the same exact person again, which I'm okay with, because that's at least gives us some consistency. Excuse me. Yeah, I think we are getting just a few more FPS at this point. But it does feel slightly smoother other than just that one dip, so perhaps it's because I just loaded into the game and it was still trying to figure everything out. Yeah, so I daily gamed, okay, there's the guy we killed. I daily gamed on a 2080 Ti for, I say gamed, I daily worked and played some video games when I actually get a chance to play. I daily gamed on a 2080 Ti for, I don't know, 4 months. I guess worked. I keep saying the wrong wording there. And this feels just a step below the experience I was getting. Why am I so confused? This feels like it's just a step below what the experience was on that 2080 Ti. Like, just slightly less. Like, I could probably get away with high and hit the same FPS. I couldn't really do like very high on that, I don't think. Let's go ahead and fight some of these things here. Yeah, I mean, we're at 70 FPS here, and that's mostly, I think, because I'm looking up at the sky. But when we look back down, yeah, it'll drop back down here. Can you critical these? Oh, you can. Cool. Yeah, so this is, what just hit me? This is a very playable experience. I think it's definitely showing that this card is 1440p capable. And it can handle these modern games without any problems. Now, I imagine when Borderlands 4 first came out, this card probably really struggled. But even then, like, people are saying like 5090s could barely get 60 FPS. So, yeah, that's a good spot for Borderlands 4. Let's go ahead and swap over to Cyberpunk and test that one out. All right, guys, back in Cyberpunk on the 9600X. Let's see what settings it defaulted us to here really quickly. Wow, it's on Ray Tracing Ultra. I guess it's just because that's what we left it on. So I think on the, what did we start at? High? I think we started at high on the 5500. So let's go ahead and, not the 50, yeah, the 5500. Words are hard here, guys. Let's go ahead and just start out on high on this, and then we'll do like we did with the 5500 and kind of crank it up. This is a darker time of the day. It's later in the day, obviously. Oh, I've never even looked at my own guy very closely before, but it does look still look really good. I think Cyberpunk has Crimson Desert beat, like just absolutely destroys it in visual quality. It's very smooth. I'm just gonna go ahead and swap it over to the ultra settings. What is it? Ray tracing ultra. You know what? Let's go to overdrive here, which turns on path tracing. I really want to see. Whoa. Okay. So it's not quite capable there because we are getting like some of that slowness with the mouse. And I don't know that it made it look any better. Let's do ultra here because that's what we were on. Wow, that was a double FPS as soon as we turned that on. That's what we were on with the 5500, but it does look it still looks absolutely incredible. I don't remember what FPS we were getting there. I'm feeling like there's not a massive jump, and again, if you're going from CPU to CPU, most likely you won't see a lot unless you're in 1080p, or you guys have echoed a million times on my comments. 1080p is where the CPU is more likely to be tested. I just do these because I enjoy doing them, and I always like to see it for myself because I know what we're told. It's always interesting to see what actually comes out of it. So this feels like a good spot to call it for Cyberpunk. Let's go ahead and swap over to Crimson Desert, see how it runs on that. All right, guys, Crimson Desert here loaded up. Let's take a look at what it's defaulted us to. Has us on high, which I think is what it initially set us at earlier on the 5500. Again, I will reiterate this several times. I think the game looks really solid when it's daylight and it allows for the clarity to be seen. Like, I think it looks solid there. There are some areas where I think it looks weak, but yeah, I don't think we're getting more FPS. If anything, I think we actually might be getting lower FPS. I think we were getting around 60 here, weren't we? Which is interesting because I've had someone comment several times, if you've been paying attention to NVIDIA overhead. So, you know, but I think that's when it's on a slower processor, not a faster processor. Just rambling here. We are getting 100% out of the GPU though, so, but visually I really don't see any kind of a difference, which obviously would make sense because it's the CPU that matters, but sometimes it does make a difference. Like if I go from like a 5500 to a 9600X, I have seen low to low look better, which I know you shouldn't, but that's what I've experienced. I am curious because I want to drop this. Maybe I need to go more on the CPU. Let's see if we go down to low and what kind of FPS it's going to put us at there. It definitely makes a difference on the visual quality of it. Like look at this guy. So this is low. Hello? There we go. That's low. Here's high. Oh yeah, I always say that like it kind of makes the characters look like they age some. But yeah, this is still a very playable experience on 1440p. You will max out your GPU if you're on a 3060 Ti, which is fine because it appears to be running at a pretty solid temperature, and it doesn't look like it pulls that much power as far as how much wattage it's using. But it does look like we're not really using too much of our CPU, which is crazy because you would think that like being in cities like this is where it tends to demand the most out of it. That feels like it's enough of Crimson Desert. Let's go ahead and swap over to Spider-Man 2. We will get to Space Marine 2, and then I'll close up the video, give you guys my thoughts, and we can all go on our merry way. Okay, cool. So put us in exactly the same spot for Spider-Man 2, so we'll actually be able to do an exact comparison here because we have to swing to the same spots. So let's go ahead and see what the settings it defaulted us to. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this game is supposed to be more CPU intense. Oh, we're still on very high, so I'm just going to leave it on very high. I think without very high at medium, we were getting like 100 FPS, but I definitely want to see like if there's any that kind of, how do I dodge here? Oh, it's this one. Oh, we are in the city. Okay. Okay, we are ahead. Cool. So we had that big lag in the other one. So this will give us an idea. So again, the GPU is 100% being used here. But this looks really good. I am not feeling any kind of lag or slowness, motion blur. Hopefully it's looking, hopefully it's looking really good for you guys too. But this, 50 to 68-ish FPS, 60, yeah, that's kind of what we've been getting is very playable, and we're in like a more intense area. Yeah, I mean, this is all pretty demanding, and we are not having any issues with performance dips or anything like that. So I'm really impressed. This is at 1440p, and we're on very high. So this feels like a good natural spot to swap over to Space Marine 2. All right, guys, our final game on the 9600X, the Space Marine 2. We are in the same area that we finished up with on the 5500. So we are gonna just kind of pay attention here. I guess I should have looked at there was some slowness in that mouse movement. Native, no frame gen on. What are we on? We're on medium. That was really surprising because I didn't get any of that on the 5500. So that's good to know. It was only in the menu, I'm assuming, though. Whoa, does that purple one blow them up? Yay, ammo. Oh, I'm dead. Okay. There are some stutters in there, guys. That's not the first time I've had stutters now on the 9600X. Very interesting. We've had some stutters, so I feel like the 1% lows, perhaps if we'd gotten a little further or played like, I don't know, it's hard to tell sometimes, but definitely feels like we've had some issues on this one, which is surprising because the 9600X is a lot faster than the 5500. So who knows? Very, very strange. I really don't know what to say about that or explain it. Someone in the comments is going to let me know, like, here's why it happened, here's what you should understand, but that was very odd to me that we had it happen. There it happened again, and then again. I'm not paying enough attention to the FPS to see if like we are dropping that low or if it's just like an experience I'm having. Wow, there's so many of them. Maybe it's just because this is a really demanding area. Interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and call it there. I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts, and then we're all going to go about and do whatever it is we do normally throughout the day. I don't know. That was really awkward. So first of all, I just want to say thank you guys all to the support that you've shown this channel so far, and the fact that we did hit 1,000 subscribers, which is a pretty cool thing to say. I've been doing this for maybe 2 or 3 months now, and obviously there's still a lot for me to learn in the PC space, but it's been really fun to get to try out all these new things and see how much you guys enjoy it and hear how it potentially influences or helps you make some decisions. So as far as the 3060 Ti goes, this is a really good value card. I mean, if you found it, like I said, I got one for $225 with a Ryzen 5 3600, which is an absolute steal of a deal. But I felt that it was just slightly worse than the 2080 Ti, which, I think those are still going maybe $250 to $300. So if you found one of these at like $200, $225 for, that's what you're looking for and that's the budget you have, I definitely think I would get one personally. But otherwise, yeah, in 1440p, I felt that it handled all those modern games really well. There were some times where like you would definitely have to lower some graphics. So if you cared about like the visual quality the most, I would probably go down to 1080p. You should be fine going to like 1080p and going like high or ultra or whatever, because at that point, you're not going to be drawing on the need for as much power out of the graphics card. So just a thought from a random guy. I do want to remind you guys, I actually do have a newsletter where I update you on the future content of the channel, and I've got the opportunity on there for you to leave comments on that so that you can influence what actually comes out. So like, for example, we had someone leave the very first comment ever today where I discussed I'm looking to get a 4070 90K. So if you guys don't know, I have an i5 4590. I got it in this weird way. I bought a box of random PC stuff, and it was a CPU that I didn't even know it was. I scraped. Anyway, rambling again. It was a really cool experience, and that i5 4590 actually runs, but it's kind of slow, and I'm actually planning on putting it together in a build that I'm going to give away. I'm going to host a rock, paper, scissors tournament here locally where I am, and it's just too slow for me to justify giving it away. So I've been looking for a 4070 90K to throw in there, and I'll probably end up like pairing it with an RX 580. But in the meantime, that 4590 I've paired with like a 9070 XT, 3080, probably end up pairing it with this 3060 Ti, like all kinds of graphics cards. And it's just interesting to see how that content comes out. So rambling aside, I really do hope you guys have enjoyed this video, that perhaps if you were in the market for a 3060 Ti, or you have one now and you wanted to know, like, before you went and spent $70 or whatever it is for Crimson Desert, like, will my card run it? Will my CPU and GPU hold up? Because that's why I did the 5500 and the 9600X, because I realized, like, not everyone's on the same kind of processor. So if you've enjoyed this video, hopefully consider checking out some other content. I pair a lot of CPUs with GPUs. I've done some giveaways on here. I actually, my lowest viewed video on the channel, I held an axe throwing contest in like December, I think. Well, I don't remember when it was, but it was really cold. It was like 35 degrees outside with 20-mile-per-hour winds. And the winner actually got a gaming PC. So if you're interested, go check that out. Otherwise, I will catch you guys. And as you go, be sure to check out some of the other stuff. See you later.